This is Seeing Red, now in our 15th season of bringing you the best in independent Red Bulls news and opinion. Now, here are your hosts, Mark Fishkin and Joe Goldstein.
Yes, it's true. It's Mark and Joe here, Seeing Red. We actually have a game to talk about. The Red Bulls go to Nashville, Tennessee. They hit the woodwork 3 times, and they settle for a scoreless draw in the 2024 MLS season opener. Tonight on Seeing Red, we'll go inside that match at Nashville, what we liked a little bit less. We'll give our first bull of the match of 2024. I'm very excited to hear what my partner has to say. We'll preview the Red Bulls at Houston this Saturday night. We'll have a little Know Your Opponent interview with the good folks at the dynamic Foxtrot pod that's coming up, and then we've got a great email bag as well. I'm Mark and he's Joe. Joe, we got to see the Red Bulls play a game that counted.
We did, and you know what? I kind of liked it.
What were the things that you liked the most?
85% passing, not
Unheard
too
of.
shabby.
Unheard of.
The advantage in possession. I liked that they took their time and were going full speed towards the net at all times. And I think that I liked most that there were chances. They were blown, obviously, but there were chances. And I like that Sandy Claus's system is rapidly underway.
Yeah, consider this. Stop me if you've heard this before. The Red Bulls won the XG battle. Da-da-da-da. Let me be the first to say. Nashville, to be kind, was missing 2 of their top forwards, including Hani Mukhtar, and played the first half without U.S. men's national team defender Walker Zimmerman. And so getting a point on the road is yes, ma'am, always good. But for me, while I saw a lot of good things, this was a real missed opportunity, because I feel that you've got to battle and take the points from these teams when they're vulnerable. When we get to see Nashville again, they're probably going to have a lot more pieces. And to be fair, we had pieces missing too.
Yeah.
John Tolkien didn't play. Lewis Morgan got 25 minutes in the second half. But I think there are 2 things that really stand out for me. First, Noah Ayla playing
dynamite,
getting the starting nod and playing incredibly well. Moment was not too big for him. He was calm. He was solid. He was good with his feet. Everything advertised. I think if I'm Andres Reyes, I'm thinking, what's going on right now?
I thought about Ayla starting, and my mind drifted back to the playoffs. And there were some big goals.
No, every goal was culpable.
He should be threatened, but that makes the steel stronger. So I don't know if I would be worried just yet, but
okay.
Things looked fantastic in the back, and I don't think that Hani Mukhtar and Sam
Surridge,
would add so much to the fixture that they were not outplayed, and Red Bull ran all over this team.
Yeah, they did, and that takes me to the other point, which is Emil Forsberg is clearly, as Bradley Wright Phillips wrote today on MLSsoccer.com, he's the best Red Bulls player from a quality standpoint since Henry.
Yeah,
a real focal point of the offense. Won the ball, defended well, distributed the ball as well as perhaps could be expected when Nashville was bunkering through the entire game, right? They had 8 defenders behind the ball for just about all the 90 minutes. And you really just got the sense of Forsberg's calm and quality and set piece ability, which we saw for the first time, pinging the crossbar in the second half. And so it was really just a pleasure to really truly be able to see in a competitive match just what Forsberg brings. He's the focal point of the offense that we've been waiting for a very long time during this interregnum since the start of the 2019 season. And it's match one for everybody, and you have to think to yourself, this is only going to get better. What did you think of Morgan's 25 minutes?
The team had shifted back a pedal.
Yeah.
So back a pedal, I don't know, but it's tough to get a read on him, like if he was on in the first minute. But outstanding defending, and I think that I would have liked to see more offense out of him, but um, time will tell.
Yeah, and he's working his way back. So,
and the number one thing I noticed was this wasn't at all the game I reported it to be. It was not ugly. It was beautiful, and I was shocked.
You were shocked by how nicely New York was connecting.
Yeah.
I get it. Rold Mitchell also played the last 13 minutes of the match. It was his first appearance. Joe's making a face. Maybe a little more.
Gotta be a goldfish. He took like a lot of chances or touches early on, but they were under his feet, blocked away. But it's good to get your first time in the league, and looking forward to his contributions.
Yeah, Peter Strad played in the pushed up position we had asked him about during media day.
Yeah,
that we had seen a little bit. I mean, was kind of holding the fort. Had a few stray passes going backwards that created a challenge or two, and Coronel only had to make 3 saves. He made some very large saves late in the game. Shores talked about the fact that when you're on the back foot and you're on the road and it's late in the game, to hold them off and not concede and keep the point was showed a lot. And I thought they did well. Also, an interesting note: no yellow cards for the Red Bulls, and this is a back line that was constantly getting suspended last year.
Yeah,
they were among the most offensive, the most cautioned backline in the league last year, and I thought clearly it was a very clean game from them.
Yeah, and it didn't require a lot, so maybe another team puts up more of a challenge on the day, and I thought, considering what I said about Kyle Duncan last weekend, I thought he and Dylan Nealis were excellent on the day.
Yeah. And again, flavored with the notion that at least for the first 80 minutes of the game, really the first 55 or so minutes of the game, Nashville just absorbed, right? So they were able to get forward, and it definitely felt good. So that leads us to our first question, my friend, which is, who is your first Seeing Red Bull of the Week of 2024?
I always have to swim against the grain, but Noah Ely showed really well. I expect it was Forsberg for you.
Yeah, no, I think mine is absolutely definitely Forsberg. I think, again, Ayla's poise, his comfort, his passing. He's a big boy. He's very tall, and he and Sean Nealis, I think, work really, really nicely together. So, I think Ayla and Forsberg, congratulations. Our first Bulls of the week. Okay, we're getting right into it. We're just moving right along because there's so much to talk about tonight. Saturday at 8:30. the Red Bulls visit Houston as the team aims for its first win of the season. And here come the graphics, folks. All right. Oh, let me take this guy down as we do this. Boop. There we go. Last season, Houston was 14, 11, and 9. They were good enough for fourth in the West. They have one draw in the league. They've been playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So they've had 2 CONCACAF Cup wins and a league draw against SKC. They lost in the conference final last year to LAFC. They are the reigning U.S. Open Cup champions. Last season, they scored 51 times, conceded. No, that's 38, not 328. Okay, that was good enough for third best defense in the West. 328 goals probably would have been a little more, a little lower down. But they were a very, very good home team. And that mark, 11-2-4 at Shell Energy Stadium, was not only the best in the West, but that is the kind of home record that the Red Bulls definitely want to aspire to be. This year, they have the one draw at home against SKC. They tied last year for the most clean sheets in MLS with 14 behind keeper Steve Clark. Only Seattle had more clean sheets. They were 6th in MLS for penalties awarded. Only Vancouver, Cincy, Columbus, and Philly had more than that. The most yellow cards in MLS, tied with the most red cards in MLS with 5. This is this year's team. Let me get into a little bit about who has joined and who has departed. American forward Gabe Siegel arrived from NYCFC. He spent the second half of last year at Hapoel Tel Aviv in the Israeli league. And Jan Gregus, who the notion that he does not have a sponsorship from some vodka brand is amazing to me, but he signed as a free agent. He's from Slovakia. Among the departures, Chase Gaspar is now at Chicago. Corey Baird is now in Cincinnati. Paraguayan forward Ivan Franco, returned to Paraguay at the end of his loan. Before the arrival of Ben Olsen, Houston were a big mess of an organization. And it's really incredible to say that Ben Olsen was the man to pull this team together. But nevertheless, they hadn't made the playoffs since 2017. The club last year was an absolute revelation. They finished 4th in the league with Mexican midfielder Hector Herrera playing a starring role, Ache, and some of the lesser-known players, such as Panamanian midfielder Coco Carrasquilla, who is definitely on the all-name team, and Moroccan attacker Amin Bassi. But lots and lots of injuries on this team. Hector Herrera is sidelined with a knee injury, as is Colombian forward Nelson Quinones. Sebas Ferreira, who returned from a loan spell with Vasco da Gama, is down with a hamstring injury within 25 minutes of the season opener. The 2-1 road loss in the CCC at St. Louis. Also, Franco Escobar is out with a leg injury. And I mean, Bassi only recently returned to first team training. So their games so far this year, they went out and lost 2-1 at St. Louis in the CCC. Then they had the 1-1 home draw with Gabe Siegel scoring, the team coming back from down a goal. And then last night, Sviatchenko came on at halftime and got the goal in the 60th minute that powered Houston onto the CCC round of 16 in away goals. Now, these are the 2 matches that they've played, and you can certainly see that these 2 teams, the 2 lineups, have a number of similar options and, a squad rotation, right? When you think about these players brought in, Saturday will be Houston's 3rd game in 8 days, which is exactly what you want if you're coming in and playing them. But consider from what you might see on this lineup that Olsen's either playing a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. Consider we have not yet spoken to the Dynamo Foxtrot guys. They may school us a little bit. We'll get to that in our second segment. It's looking like a starting 11 based on this information of Steve Clark, 37-year-old American. He's on his 4th MLS team and his 11th year in MLS. My goodness. I remember when he came into the league, 250 plus appearances for Steve Clark. A back four could be Tate Schmidt, a 27-year-old American, 30 caps in MLS since 2019. That's spread out a lot. Mikhail, 23, center back, 6'3", played 24 times last year. Eric Sviatchenko, a 32-year-old Dane in his second year in MLS. Griffin Dorsey, a 24-year-old American who has appeared 69 times since 2019. He has 6 goals and 8 assists in his career. Left mid could be Jan Gregus, the 33-year-old Slovakian who has gone Minnesota United, San Jose, Minnesota United, and Houston since 2019. Only played 12 times last year. Artur, the 27-year-old Brazilian, played every single match in 2023, and Red Bull fans of a certain age may remember his pretty brutal arm injury that he picked up in 2021 back at Red Bull Arena. That ended his season that year. Koko Kadansky, the 25-year-old Panamanian, had 3 and 8 last year. Brad Smith, a 29-year-old Australian with 4 goals and 14 assists in MLS since 2018. That's over almost 100 appearances with Seattle, DC, and now Houston. Gabe Siegel likely up top, 3 goals and 11 appearances last year for NYCFC. And Sebastian Kowalczyk, the Pole, with an assist in 9 appearances. He joined Houston last season. A little bit of history before we actually dig in and talk what we think we'll see here. Red Bulls of Houston met 31 times. New York leads 13, 11, and 7. The home team is unbeaten in 9 straight matches in this series. The last time these teams played, it was last year at Red Bull Arena, where an 89th minute Omir Fernandez goal gave New York a 1-1 draw. The last time these teams played in Houston was 2019, and the last time the Red Bulls won in Houston was way back on November 6th of 2013 in a 3-1 win that included goals by BWP, Brad Davis, and Omar Cummings, if you can believe it. Crazy. The last time that the Red Bulls have beaten Houston in the regular season was 10-20 of 2013. A 3-0 win. Tim Cahill scored in the first minute. Ibrahim Sagaya and BWP. The leading scorer all time against Houston is BWP, to the surprise of no one, with 8 goals, and no active New York Red Bulls player has scored against, no, not that one, boing, that one, scored against Houston. So they'll be tired.
Yep.
They had a big emotional win last night. They've only got 3 days to pull it together. They're undoubtedly not in midseason form. They will be playing at home. The Red Bulls have got to feel really good about their chances coming in here.
Yeah, I think that when we were looking at the schedule a week ago, Nashville on the road, Houston on the road would have been a bigger threat. But as you can see, the Red Bulls have taken a new approach, and that's for everyone's betterment. I think that Houston like to keep the ball as much as the Red Bulls do.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's an opportunity to press. I think that, speed will factor definitely into the game. The occasional long ball out of the back might be nice. And I think that Emil Forsberg is going to be overrun this game. The attacking setup is wide, and so they like to cross the ball into the box. They like to play not ticky-tacky, but triangles along the outside. And that's really going to be a challenge for Kyle Duncan and Emil Forsberg if Jamai is not ready to go. It's it sets up to be uglier than the first match, but I think that they can get a win here.
You don't expect Houston to sit back with eight
No, not
players.
at all.
No. And I appreciate wanting to play a tiki-taka style, or at least a possession, quick movement
The
style.
Ben Olsen version of tiki taka.
Yeah, which includes banging on the ground with a club. No Captain Caveman jokes. But without Herrera, I guess the question is, I mean, listen, they played 3 games. They had a 2-1 loss, a 1-1 draw, and a 1-0 win. And so you just know that, I mean, Clark is pretty phenomenal. He is a veteran goalkeeper. He's in his prime. And Houston has dominated most of the games that they've played. They've outshot their opponent all 3 times. But again, we might see some heavy legs come the 65th minute. So I'm wondering if we see another 10 or 15 minutes out of Lewis Morgan. We'll find out at practice tomorrow whether Tolkien can play at all and get the nature of his injury. And so that's been keeping him out. So yeah, I think another draw would be, I think, great coming back home for Dallas. That looked very, very strong. Yes, Joe.
And I will say, it's not the middle of summer, but the Red Bulls have to get on the board early in this one. It's critical. And I think that not that they'll park the bus, but they'll make them run all over the field. And Ben Olsen knows that the chances will be there in the end of the game should they not score.
Right, and that's when they'll be, at their poop, at their tiredness,
Yeah.
right? They'll be pooped, and so with the 270 minutes in 1 week, and so yes, everyone talks about. I think it was Lewis Morgan talked about not expecting anything less out of Nashville, but here for the second straight week, they're playing a good team, and you can say Houston's a good team without their big star in Hector Herrera. And they've got to be able to take advantage, and they've got to be able to hit the net. All right, we'll quickly go around the MLS East. It's a really interesting Saturday because there are games all afternoon long. And for fans that have been kind of asking for that, early window, late window, you're going to get it on Saturday, especially with MLS Season Pass. 2:00, the Loons host the defending champions Columbus, sir.
Columbus, surely.
They
looked really good in the first week.
Yes. At 4:30, the Florida Man Derby with the Miami Messis hosting Orlando.
I give it to Orlando, but refs and Messi magic could alter things.
I think Felipe's there's a card in Felipe's future if he gets on
Yes.
the field. So you've watched at 2:00, and then you've watched at 4:30, and then at 7:30, Vancouver and Charlotte surprise 1-0 winners over NYC last week. Vancouver is making their season debut. They had the bye last week.
I will stick this in Vancouver's basket.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Chicago at 8:30 now. Chicago and Cincinnati. This could be a good match. Cincinnati couldn't score at home against Toronto last week.
Yeah, and
really was fun.
What was the defensive midfielder's name? Flores. He was phenomenal. Key to the scoreless draw. I think this is a draw too.
Sounds good. Dallas winners in week 1 have Club de Foot.
Dallas.
Kansas City, who had a 1-1 draw against Houston. They have the Philadelphia Union, who played 120 minutes last night to get by Saprissa in the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
And I like City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
St. Louis, coming off their 2-legged loss to Houston, they have NYCFC.
I'm really not sure I'm really not sure is going on in City, but the the longer they take to figure themselves out, the better. St. Louis.
St. Louis. All right. Then at 9:30, the Colorado Rapids, who got stomped by Portland, they have Nashville, who play tonight in their second leg against Mocha. The Armis era off to an ignominious start in the Rocky Mountains.
Draw.
Okay. Portland, who again dropped 4 goals on Colorado in week 1. They have DC United out at Providence Park. And I don't know if you saw the news today, but Portland's new shirt sponsors, CEO, apparently had a sexual harassment lawsuit thrown at him today. And Portland canceled that contract because in Portland, there's something clearly wrong.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yes, Troy Lesane, big winners in week 1, go all the way out to Portland.
Portland is usually good at home. Portland.
Okay. And then Sunday at 2, the Revs have TFC, again, that had some stout defending on the road last week.
I think TFC. I know that I picked them 2 weeks in a row on the road, but I was legitimately impressed with their output.
All right. And then lastly, our game Saturday at 8:30 at Shell Energy Stadium in Houston. It's the Red Bulls at the Dynamo.
I'm going to take the under or over, I guess. And
over 1-1?
Yeah.
That's the line for you, my friend.
1-0 Houston.
Okay.
But I think that the Red Bulls are primed to clip their wings.
I'm going to call it a 2-2 draw that will be very, very entertaining. When we're back on Seeing Red, we have the good folks making their Seeing Red debut from the Dynamic Foxtrot pod. So keep it here, won't you? We'll be right back. We're back at Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Roundup. Very, very excited as we get ready for the Red Bulls to head down to Houston, Texas. All my exes live there, and I'm very, very excited to have the gentleman from the Dynamic Foxtrot pod on Seeing Red for the first time to give you all the ins and the outs about the Houston Dynamo. That's Herman, and Eric from Dynamic Foxtrot. Guys, welcome to Seeing Red. How are you?
Thank you, sir. Nice. Appreciate the invite. Thank you for having us. Looking forward to this matchup. It's going to be a crazy one, man. Y'all look good right now.
We had a good opening day. Tell us the story, because you may or may not be aware that the Red Bulls have a bit of history with Ben Olsen, first as a player for DC United and then as a coach for DC United for an eon. And I think a lot of eyebrows were raised when Olsen got the tap on the shoulder. What has he meant to this Dynamo squad?
Yes, I can voice my opinion on that one. I was a proponent against the hire when it happened, given the track record in DC, and those who were for argued that he wasn't given the resources needed to employ his system, right? Time has proved me wrong, and I'm so happy to be wrong. The second part of your question, what has he meant? He has brought this grit, this tenacity, this
Nasty.
nasty. Yes, that was the hashtag. That was the hashtag. Bring the nasty when he got hired. That is beautiful to watch as a fan, because as a fan, all you want is your team to give it 110% and then more. And that's what the Dynamo do day in, day out, no matter who's on the pitch.
Now, obviously, you guys took it all the way and won a trophy last year and won a knockout tournament, which, as you may or may not know, the Red Bulls have never, ever done, at least not one that counted. And so I guess the question is, what kind of confidence is this team playing with? You've gotten through St. Louis now in this preliminary round of Champions Cup. You've got an Open Cup that I would imagine they're going to let you actually defend your title, perhaps. But you guys have got to be starting this season with as much confidence, as much good feeling as you guys have had maybe since the team first got to Houston.
Mark, great question. The confidence is very high in Houston right now, and you can see it in Ben's face too. Just the fans are questioning with the depth, but Ben believes in the depth of the team and believes in the entire team, and you could just see the confidence in the players. I mean, the overhaul 18 players, the past last season, the changeover, and then to do what we did with that 18 plus changeover, you could just see the confidence and the camaraderie between the players and what Ben. He's changing the attitude and the dynamic of the team, and what people see of the Dynamo that are not Dynamo fans outside. They look at the Dynamo like, oh, y'all just wooden spooners. Y'all just wooden spooners. So great change with ownership. It's changed every friggin' thing from the dynamic from the top to the bottom. And Ben Olsen has been great aspect of that, and the confidence just shows on the field with the players. You have young players, you have older players, we brought in champions. So yes, the confidence is just right there. And I think that's what got us to fourth into the conference finals last year. Unfortunately, couldn't make it past, win the Open Cup. Sorry, Messi wasn't there to beat his butt, but it shows, and we're having a good time so far this year to start the season with the questions that we have, all the injuries. So yes, confidence is high.
Yeah, let's get into those injuries for a little bit. Obviously, Hector Herrera, not going to be able to go on Saturday, and yet you guys have kind of ground out 3 decent results. I mean, even a 2-1 loss in St. Louis in the away leg in the Champions Cup, getting that away goal so crucial. You came back from behind the other night against SKC to get the draw, and then you get the second half goal in the leg 2 against St. Louis. Talk to us about who is making the difference early in the season for Houston with kind of your big name sidelined.
Yeah, I'll let OSG answer that question on who's making the difference, but I just wanted to add a little bit more on the confidence part.
Sure.
It comes from obviously buying into Ben's system. That was the hard part at first.
Trust
the system, trust the process. We saw the results last year, so everybody bought in, right? The confidence comes from the players having already been in the system for 1 year and knowing their exact jobs on the pitch. And more importantly, the Dynamo are taking a long-term approach to building this roster, to building the team. So they work hand in hand with the MLS Next Pro team, and they're being trained with the same philosophy. So when we call up these youngsters to the first team, we don't skip a beat. Yeah. That's where the confidence comes from. And I'll let OSG answer who has made a difference to start the year off.
Well, the biggest difference right now is Seba. And Seba to us is Sebastian Kowalski, or however you say his freaking last name. He's the Polish edition. With Bossi having his green card issues, and he is now returned back to the team and played last night. But before that, he wasn't here and available. Like you said, Ache out. Quinones on the left wing is out for the entire season. Huge as well. Ache, the biggest. So Seba, who came in at the end of last season, didn't get very much playing time, but people were excited about. We were wondering and curious. He's came in and he has stepped up. And he has brought it 100%. And that man's showing. And there was rumors he was going back to Poland, and he shut those down because it came from Poland to here. he was asked the question. He's like, no, I'm not interested. I want to stay here. And here we are. And now he's playing. And I think he's shown his provenness to Ben. And Ben's going to play him because Ben is a stubborn freaking guy, bro. He will not make subs. He sticks to that freaking lineup, as I'm sure you've seen from the history.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Seba, we call him Seba, or he actually likes to be called Seba. And so that's the guy who's been stepped up, and it's been huge to cover that midfield position right there as a cam and just be a floater and everything in his pace he brings to the game. He's going to be dangerous. He's not as dangerous as Forsberg. I'm scared to hell for that right there.
Artur is a player that Red Bull fans are certainly familiar with, given his time in Columbus. He actually broke his arm at Red Bull Arena a couple of years ago. I missed the whole season. Really tenacious. Talk to us a little bit about what he's meant for this team.
Arthur is the backbone along with HH. They make a good pair. But now that HH or Hector Herrera has been out, he's even more crucial to the team because he's that calming presence in the back, right? He's the bridge between the midfield and the defense, and just being an outlet for those center backs. Because as you'll see, we like to keep possession and we like our center backs to pass the ball, and he serves as that outlet instead of just clearing the ball away. We want to retain that possession. So Arthur plays a key factor in our midfield. And when Hector Herrera is healthy, they are a fantastic duo in the midfield for the Dynamo.
If you consider the Red Bull style of play, which is a high press, or as we've seen through 90 minutes, a high press with possession, a little bit more, certainly against a team that was bunkering like Nashville, I can't imagine that Houston is going to bunker against, although I will tell you that Ben Olsen has had a significant amount of success bunkering against the Red Bulls press over the last number of years. I'm just kind of curious, how would you describe the understanding of, yes, it's a possession game, but how would you describe how Houston plays as someone that hasn't seen them?
Well, sorry. So he will not bunker. You're right. He is defensive and possessive, and to work the ball around. And to go back to Herman, if you start seeing them forcing the ball up, that means your press is really working against us. And we played last year 0-0 until the very end of the game, and y'all fought. I think if I remember right, 1-0, right? Y'all fought and got that goal. So it was a struggle with that press, or what? Actually, you know what? I don't remember now. Was it 1-1?
It was a 1-1. It was a late goal by the Red Bulls to tie the game at 1.
Yes, that's right, because we had that crazy from Clark all the way down and Thor.
Yep.
I think it was Thor. Yeah. So it's good. This game's gonna be crazy, but yeah, we're gonna possess, and y'all's presses is what's gonna be key. Can you force some mistakes? We rotated this game, so I feel like it's gonna be our strongest 11. So they're gonna be confident, and they're gonna try the tiki taka where they're making the one-touch passes. So it's gonna be on your guys to be in position and be watching their zones and their areas to make sure that the press is working properly. If y'all can succeed in that, and maybe even get up, it's going to be dangerous for us in Hell in the Shell, because it's obviously we're going to be very strong and defensively at home, and we struggle to score, but we possess the ball very well and move the ball very well. So it's going to make it hard for y'all to score, but we'll give you opportunities at the same time. And Jesus Christ, I'll reiterate again, Forsberg, I'm scared.
Yeah, I mean, Forsberg is clearly the best player that the team has signed since Henry was here, and so I think you got just really a taste of what he had last week against Nashville, and that was a team that was bunkering. So with a little more room, with a little more space, with a little more time, perhaps it'll be a little more effective. The Red Bulls obviously have really struggled, especially 2023, scoring goals, and hit the post 3 times last week against Nashville. Won the XG battle. They win the XG battle every single week. And so I think Red Bull fans are looking for a little more. I want to talk a little bit about the challenges that Houston has had getting attention and fan support. Your stadium is empty a lot. Our stadium is empty a lot. Big major market with a lot of pro sports teams. And with frankly, humongous Latino audience in the immediate area, that looks down on MLS and doesn't really engage because we're, to be fair, we're the Gringo League in a lot of folks' eyes, and so there are a bit of similarities. The one thing that you guys have going so much more than the Red Bulls is that your stadium is just smack dab in the middle of downtown. Smack dab. So talk to us a little bit about what winning has done over the last year and a half, because you guys, you've been a very watchable team. You've been a very successful team under Ben Olsen, much to my own detriment. And I'm just kind of curious, is the city's soccer fans, and Houston is a soccer hotbed, like, are people responding to the team?
We're gonna tag team this one. I'll share my thoughts first, and then OSG can wrap it up. I personally believe a sports management major should do their senior thesis on this exact question, because it's not a simple answer. Yes, winning has helped. Yes, signing a superstar like Hector Herrera has helped.
Yeah.
But we still can't consistently. That is the key. Yeah. We will sell out the stadium every now and then, but consistently is the key. We can't get there. And there are many reasons why. Some would argue the weather during the summer months. Others call BS on that, right? Like OSG is one of them, right? He's shaking his head no. But from my personal point of view, it's what you started saying, the Gringo League. It's disrespected by a large majority of that Latino community. It's the people like me that is the first generation American that feels some sort of pride for the city that they were born and reside in, that feels a stronger bond to the local team. And that's who I think every MLS team should cater to. OSG?
Yeah, well, with the diversity of Houston, MLS is a second league to most of the population of Houston, Mexican league, or wherever they're from. They prefer to watch something else different. And then, like you said, MLS is not a popular league, hasn't been a popular league. It's growing widely, very, very slow to be enjoyable to watch as a game, to preferably to something else that you might want to watch. So it's tough. So the diversity just brings a lot of trouble to us. And then, just to add to that, the past 10, yes, it was 10 years before we changed ownership to Ted Siegel. We're wooden spoon winners, and we probably have a friggin' trophy case the same size as the trophies that we have now with what was it, 5 now? Something like that. So it's like, and no, we don't show those wooden spoons off, but it was just troublesome. Just the past 10 years and the poor ownership and just the mistakes they were making with players. You had great players, but then you mismanaged, and then you sold them for cheap. Albert Elise, somebody that we were happy for. So it's a struggle. And there's a lot of random people that show up to the games. You see them. I'm in the supporter section 100% of the time. I'm lying about that. I'm in the supporter section when I'm a fan of the game. And there's just people that are there just enjoying the game, and they're like, there's no color to their shirts, or like, I don't know who you're representing. Where'd you come from? You come to the game like, we're your orange. You show out to your team. So they're just getting an opportunity to watch a soccer game. We've got the Gold Cup. The Women's Gold Cup is there now. CONCACAF. The World Cup is coming. The Women's World Cup is coming after that. So yeah, like you said, Houston is a hotbed for soccer. So we're working. We're changing the culture. Ted Siegel's doing his greatest that he can do. He's got the Dash and the Dynamo, and he's changing everything from the very top to the very bottom. I'm not kidding. He's fired. I'm not going to say he's fired everybody. There has been changeover. There's been changeover, and we assume they've been fired. So it's changing. So now the culture, can they come into the stadium? We hope so. We fit 21,000. They say we had 18,000 for SKC. Probably less than that. Last night was embarrassing, obviously, but it's a 9:30 freaking game in Central Texas against a Central Texas
school
team.
Night.
On a freaking school night. That was the stupidest shit. I was there. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I enjoyed it. I was there in person. I had to take off work because of it, but whatever. That's what you do for your club. One in the store. So I'm hoping that the audience will return like it was in the Robertsons day back in 2011, 12, 13, up until 05, 06, up until 11 and 12. And then that's when it all just changed and just ruined.
I think the league in general has really struggled with communicating what extra league, outside the league competitions really are, because they're not part of American sports culture, right? And so,
Right.
we used to love when the Red Bulls were qualifying for CONCACAF Champions League every year. They had, I think, 4 or 5 years, and you'd go on a Tuesday night in February, and there'd be 5,000 fans there, but it would be the fans that really cared, right? And so, Open Cup as well, we would play those games at the local college where our 2-team plays as a home game, and you get 1,200 people there, which in any case, do you guys have a prediction for Saturday night before we let you go?
1-1.
1-1. Herman?
I say we pull out the W. We as in Dynamo 2-1 on Saturday.
All right. You guys want to tell folks where they can find your good work before we end it?
Yeah, absolutely. Dynamic Foxtrot, who is our co-host to the show. You can find him on Twitter. It's Noodle Tempio is Noodle Time, and Dynamico where they post. You got El Dynamico. He's got Instagram. I'll let him tell you about that one. And H is.
Yeah, so Germán Benitez, thank you for having us tonight. I love the intro music. That was very awesome. So like OSG mentioned, we're part of Dynamic Foxtrot, which is a English and a Spanish podcast. OSG is one of the co-hosts for the English. I'm one of the co-hosts for the Spanish. You may find me on Twitter and Instagram with the name at the bottom left of me at El Dinámico_GB.
Well, guys, listen, it's great getting to know you a little bit. Great getting to know you a little bit about the Houston Dynamo. We wish you all the best on Saturday. Maybe not that best, but we appreciate you coming, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the invite. And like you said, for 90 minutes, the good luck is out of the window.
We've got more.
You're the nicest New Yorker I ever met.
We're nice. We've got more Seeing Red coming up after this short break. All right, we're back on Seeing Red. The New York Soccer Roundup. I forgot to mention at the top of the show to please like this if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe. We're quickly approaching the 300 subscriber mark, which for only about a month at this on YouTube, we feel really good about. So even if you don't watch us on YouTube, but you listen to us regularly, it doesn't take much to go find us on YouTube and then just hit subscribe. And you'll be among the first to know that the new show has dropped. You can write us anytime with your internet-enabled device at seeingredny@gmail.com. And our first email is from Jordan Glass, who writes, "Gents, here we go for a new season. Yes, right off the bat, this looks like a different team. I know the goals weren't there again, but they controlled the ball, dictated the play, and pressed at the right times. A few millimeters here or there, and it's 3-0. I was really surprised to see Ayla over Reyes, but I'm not upset at all. He played very well, both defensively and offensively, with some great distribution. Amaya and Edelman in the middle look great together, but you can see they started to lose steam toward the end of the game. Even Manuel and Van Zier seem to have a bit more pep in their step. 3 points would have been ideal, but if this team continues like this, I'm hopeful." Yes, that's right. And OG 96er is excited. New York is red. That's Jordan Glass. We didn't talk about Amaya in the first segment. He also hit the post on a free kick, and I thought played a tremendous game, Joe. Joe?
Oh,
there you are.
It was open play. His and that he stole the ball back to set it up.
Yes,
and it was beautiful. Yeah, I thought that he and Edelman looked terrific together. They were unchallenged in a way, but Annabelle Godoy coming on, maybe there's cracks in the armor, or maybe they're tired. But yeah, I really liked their output.
I think Houston will be a much better
Yeah.
measuring stick for just how proficient they are. Again, playing against an 8-man bunker, your defensive mids are not super tested a whole lot. Here is Daniel Baker. Thank you, by the way, Jordan. Daniel Baker writes, Mark and Joe, MLS is starting its most important season with scab refs is a disaster. The refereeing was not good. Even Leo Messi at the end of the Galaxy Miami game made a beeline for the ref to voice his displeasure. The cherry on top was Peter Stroud getting a reckless boot to the head, and somehow the red card gets overturned. The only positive for MLS was that no one saw the poor refereeing since MLS and Apple didn't offer a free preview week. What's next? MLS teams not playing in the Open Cup? Hashtag Garber out. We did not talk about in the first part of the show former Red Bulls captain Sean Nealis delivering a boot to the face of Peter Stroud. The ref originally giving Davis a red card, and then after a VAR review, changing it back to a yellow card. And today, Davis was fined by the league for not leaving the field in an orderly fashion, even though he was let back on the field a few minutes later.
Yeah, I think that Davis did not mean to harm, but it was reckless. Now, should that have been a yellow or a red? It's like an orange card. But I thought that the rest of the refereeing, apart from the Orlando game and the Galaxy game, was all right. I didn't see a problem with it. But that's just me. And Messi getting mad at the refs, that's preposterous. I think that they performed about as well as they could.
I believe a federal mediator was due to meet with both sides in that impasse earlier today, and hopefully in the next week or so we'll have some sort of deal and get the refs. Now, here's the thing: if you're bemoaning MLS pro refs and you want them back, you can't bitch about them when they come back.
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, I want better refs. Oh, they still suck. I mean, you know, like, come on. Thanks for the email, Daniel. As for no free previews, listen, man, I get it. They're making a calculated business decision that, you know, people are going to do it. You know, it's not the cheapest package out there, but if you buy 2 lattes a month, you're kind of covered there. So I know it's not nothing, but if you want to watch the games, you know, this is what it is. Michael Chase Bradley says, am I crazy, or is there very little post-game coverage on Apple TV MLS Season Pass? I remember correctly, the game ended, they went to commercial, came back, and they talked about it for a few minutes, and the stream ended. No interviews with players or coaches or any real in-depth analysis post-game. I miss Shep, Steve, Tina, etc., and all the pregame and post-game programming that we had on MSG. Really kept us informed. Not to forget how the pregame stuff usually feel good and made us feel more of a part of the Red Bulls community as fans. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I couldn't find the postgame. That's Michael Chase Bradley. I was fortunate enough to be at the stadium for the watch party, and we were, you know, when the game ended, everyone kind of scattered. Joe, did you watch post?
I did not watch post, but MLS offers like a recap of all the things for the day, but I didn't watch that either. So maybe they covered it there, maybe not. Yeah, I think that they could offer a more robust pregame and postgame. That's a good idea, and maybe there's there's room in the broadcast because they own the broadcast.
Right, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, MSG wasn't going to give MLS $200 million a year for 10 years. And it stinks to not have regular programming. That's kind of one of the reasons why we do this, because we want to provide some good feeling around the team in the middle of the week and connect last week's game to this week's game. The bottom line is there were years that MSG was not paying the Red Bulls for rights. They were just saying, yeah, we'll broadcast, and you've got to find the sponsors, and you've got to put it on. You've got to basically produce all of this. I mean, I would say that the team's content team is doing a really solid job in telling a story. And it's unfortunate that those kind of things aren't happening. But when you think about it this way. If you're a fan of the NFL and you're a Giants or Jets fan that also has a similar national TV deal, oftentimes you're not going to see a ton of post-game coverage of your team on NFL. It's very general. It's across the league. But, the radio will do stuff, and Red Bulls Radio definitely has a post-game show, so you might want to consider that on TuneIn. But those kind of regular coaches shows and things like that, it's lacking, and it's not happening. It's not great. It's a change for sure. So thank you, Michael, for writing. Jeremiah Dempster with our final email of the night. Mark and Joe, it's always great to hear the return of your dulcet tones as each new season rolls around. It's become a seasonal marker in the year, like the solstices. Welcome back. Welcome back, Joe.
Yeah, welcome back, Mark.
Oh, thank you. One of the debates going around is whether or not the Red Bulls need a DP striker as a necessary piece to make it competitive. Fans are hearkening back to the days of reliable scorer and focal point BWP. I would just like to step out and add that, as we know, BWP is the all-time leading goal scorer in history of the team. He also missed a lot of chances. I'm just putting that there. I did some looking at the scoring numbers of all playoff teams over the last 3 seasons and found that there have been fewer than 20 16-20 goal scorers in those squads of 46 teams total. The vast majority of teams' leading scorers fall in the 10 to 15 goal range. Additionally, 18 of those 46 teams have had at least 4 players get 5 goals. The number goes up to 34 of 46 if you need only 3 players to hit for 5. For context, our leading scorers in the last 3 seasons have been Klamala with 8, Morgan with 14, and we finished 3rd in the East, and Omir with 6. My question is, do you think we have a 10 to 15 goal scorer in the squad? Do you think we have 3 or 4 guys and get at least 5? If the question to either or both is yes, then that puts us in competitive company for playoff positions. I know we're shooting higher, but it's early in the season and we got to start somewhere. Thanks as always, Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, thank you so much for your statistical analysis, because we do love statistical analysis here on Seeing Red. So the question, Joe, is, do we have a 10 to 15 goal scorer on this roster right now?
Yes.
Who is it?
I think it's Van Zier. I think that given the amount of games throughout the season, he can get 10 to 15 goals should he stay healthy. And Manuel, Forsberg, and Granker should be able to get 5+ goals. Maybe
or maybe Lewis Morgan.
Yeah, so I didn't count him because I was trying to fill out the rest of the team.
There.
But
yes.
That's 100% accurate. I think I may have read that on Twitter this morning, Jeremiah, but you posted it, so that's okay.
It's good. It's made an impact on you.
I think that I was thinking about this, not all of the day, but most of the day. And I think that Dante Van Zier can get 10 goals for us. And should the defense hold up, the 10 to 15 goals should put us way up the table.
I think we should start this Saturday. How about that? This Saturday with the goals.
Yeah, you're on.
Because I think no one wants to win the XG battle without some G going in there. You know what I'm saying? We've come to an end of a fantastic Seeing Red, as they all tend to be. I'd like to thank Zach Feldman for stopping by, for providing us with our stats, rather, and the good folks at Dynamic Foxtrot for giving us a Fox's eye view of everything going on in Houston. Joe calls Saturday's match a
1-0 loss.
Boo. I'm going to call it a 2-2 draw that will set the Red Bulls up nicely with a bit of confidence coming into the home opener. And before we break, I just want to say, Red members today got an email saying that there's a deal for fans, for Red ticket members, buy 5 more tickets to the home opener and get 5 more free. Now, if they think that you have 10 people that don't know about this game, 10 days before it's happening, and are going to agree to come to a night game in March, that would be news to me. And it also tells me that there's not going to be very many people in the house at the home.
Friends and family only.
Friends and family. But as we know, the Miami game a couple of weeks later will be big. Anyway, nevertheless,
Saturday the 9th, cloudy with rain.
What's the temperature?
53.
Okay. Oh man. Attendances were over the moon this week. Like Charlotte had 60 grand plus and Nashville had 30 grand plus.
How better? But the crowds will be there on fireworks night.
And drone night and bark night and college night and Marvel night and Star Wars night and left-handed night. And okay. He's Joe. I'm Mark. Thanks for listening to episode 564 of Seeing Red. Let's see if we can get the music to play. Hold on. There